I don't think it's any real surprise to anyone when I say that Ezra Miller is a menace. Matter of fact, their antics stopped being funny a long time ago. Probably somewhere around the second arrest for second-degree assault. Every time we get new news about this dude, I just sigh, because it's like, I don't understand how they just continue to be free committing all of these violent acts without any sort of repercussions, seemingly. Like, how many times does this dude need to show up in the news before something is actually done about them, you know? So today we're going to talk about TMZ dropping yet another report about Ezra Miller being a complete and utter weirdo. So allegedly, this chick named Dakota Iron Eyes met Ezra Miller in 2016 when they were 23 and she was just 12. And her parents are asking the court to step in and keep the actor away from her. So Ezra was visiting the Standing Rock Reservation in North Dakota, and somehow Ezra, who once again was 23 and she was 12, somehow they developed a friendship. And mind you, I use the term friendship loosely because in my opinion, there's absolutely no reason that someone of that age should be becoming friends with a 12-year-old. Outside of familial relation, that is. Now, Dakota's parents say that Miller flew her out to London in 2017 to visit the studio where Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was being filmed. And apologies for sounding cynical, but at a time like this, I can't help but look at the parents and just say, why? Like, why did you allow this? In what world would you think it's appropriate to allow your 14-year-old daughter to go on a trip with some dude that she doesn't know when he's 25 and she's a child? Like, all disrespect intended, clearly her parents are brainless because there's just no way that this is normal. Now, Dakota's parents are claiming that Ezra supplied their underage daughter with alcohol, marijuana, and LSD, which, I mean, listen, I wouldn't actually be surprised if this is true, because the dude is a freak, you know what I'm saying? But still, just allegations at this point, am I right? Now, it seems like they continued their friendship because apparently they were in her life for long enough to actually disrupt her schooling at this private institution in Massachusetts, because she dropped out in 2021. December, that is. They were allegedly seen together in this picture right here, and Dakota's parents flew to Miller's Vermont home in January to get their daughter and discovered she didn't have her driver's license, car keys, bank card, and other items needed to navigate life independently, which shocked nobody, right? They also found bruises on Dakota's body, which they alleged that Ezra caused. Also, interestingly enough, Dakota was with Ezra while they were rampaging in Hawaii, so there's that. If you guys remember, Ezra got arrested several times during their stay in Hawaii, involving an incident where they allegedly attacked some bar patrons while screaming some pretty crazy things. In the documents, Dakota's parents state that Ezra uses violence, intimidation, threats of violence, fear, paranoia, delusions, and drugs to hold sway over a young adolescent Dakota. And honestly, none of this really surprises me if it is true that Ezra has been involved in this kid's life since they were 12 years old, right? Now, another interesting aspect of this engaging story is that Dakota took the social media to talk about her parents' concerns, and she's not very happy with them. Now listen, I'm 29, so I'm not really sure how the kids talk these days, but I'm gonna go over her statement here. And all I really say about it from an initial reading is that it kinda seems a little bit odd. The language used isn't typically one associated with a teenager, but we'll go over it here. I'd like to make a statement and acknowledge the tragedy that is the narrative of the general public and the assumptions made on my behalf by my family and friends regarding my stability and otherwise. I dropped out of BARD 5 months ago. My friend and comrade William passed shortly thereafter. My mind was incredibly impacted and I've needed space and time for the processing of grief. My comrade Ezra Miller, for the entirety of the aforementioned era, has only provided loving support and invaluable protection throughout this period of loss. God, when, Queen? When they were busy assaulting people? Like, when were they providing this support? Okay, anyway, so I am in no way or under any circumstance have ever been during my short-lived adulthood in need of a conservatorship. My father and his allegations hold no weight and are frankly transphobic and based in the notion that I am somehow incapable of coherent thought or opposing opinions to those of my own kindred worrying about my well-being. Okay, like, this is weird. Like, this is weird, but I'll finish up. I am now aware of the severity of emotional and psychological manipulation I was made to endure while in my parents' home. I am an adult and I deserve to feel authority in my own body. I am tired of wondering whether or not cops will show up to section me on a daily basis. I have decided upon a therapist and am excited to now engage in a conversation with a mental health professional about my anxiety and probable depression. It is no one's business. My choices are my own. And as to the nature future of police intervention. In my case, it is unnecessary and it is a waste of time and resource. This bout of blatant betrayal and toxicity my parents and others have chosen to punish me with has been desperately embarrassing and traumatically life-altering. Relationships in my life have been grossly affected, some detrimentally so. This behavior is unacceptable and needs to be called out. So yeah, that's the statement she put out on Twitter. I gotta admit, once again, sounds a little bit crazy. Not sure if this is the norm for kids these days talking like that, but something about it reads as off, especially once again considering the allegations that they have been close and they've been friends since she was a literal child. Quote unquote friends, because the headspace that you would have to be in order to relate to a child when you're in your early 20s is abysmal, to say the least. This entire thing is weird. We're clearly missing some details here. And honestly, I think it's on her parents for not putting it into this freak show relationship when they had the chance. 12? I know I keep on harping on it, but Jesus Christ, man. Like, what were they thinking? Absolutely nothing about this situation is normal. Absolutely nothing about Ezra Miller in general is actually normal, to be quite honest. And since she's been hanging out with them since she was an adolescent, like, of course, their way of thinking and their way of talking would probably rub off on her, right? Like, you're developing into your own person when you're in your early teens. And when you have some nut job hanging out with you and hanging over you, influencing your way of thinking, I mean, I'm not really surprised that it ended up like this. If these allegations turn out to be true, that is. And again, I have to say, Hollywood is just full of weirdos. Like, they really saw Ezra Miller hanging out with this young child, and they were just like, all right, this is normal. This is perfectly fine. Nothing to see here, folks. Her parents should have been like, nah. As soon as some random white dude came around and was just like, can I hang out with your 12-year-old kid and I'm 23? They allowed her to be flown out by them, like no red flags popped up for them? Nothing? Just nothing at all? 14-year-old hanging out with a 25-year-old by themselves? Nothing, really? All right. I just continue to be disgusted by Ezra Miller's, I don't know, depravity, their behavior. I just don't understand what's going on with them. But clearly they need some extensive therapy too, because they're off and their offness is spread into the people around them. And when is enough going to be enough? When are they going to finally drop them? How many more cases have to pop up? How many more assaults? How many more arrests before they finally publicly come out and say, yeah, Ezra Miller would no longer be playing the Flash going forward? I'm just tired of this dude, and I'm just tired of them letting certain things pass just because people fit under a certain criteria. But whatever, man, that's it for me. What do you guys think? Are you sick of Ezra as well? Do you think they need to drop him? You know, let me know in the comment section, leave a like, and I will catch you guys for another video. Peace.